Yo, Still Mills, what's the deal, man? Yo, I'm gonna do a video before I gotta go head off and do my homework, man. Shout out to Janibek from the fight from last night, man. I'm gonna be real. Nigga gotta admit when he wrong. He clearly won the fight. I wasn't one scorecard I wasn't in agreement when. I thought 118 to 110 was really egregious. I thought that shit was disgusting, but I'm not mad at 8-4. I'm not mad at 8-4 at all. 7-5, not mad at that either. I'm just not, because I'm just not, man. But nonetheless, shout out to him. He did. He won the fight. I thought he was gonna go in there and outline dude in chalk, because his past few fights that I saw from him, I just didn't like what I saw. I saw the potential, but I'm like, it's just not gonna be enough to deal with the likes of a Janibek because of the attribute that Janibek brings to the table, man. But the first. Everybody was expecting like a second round, no later than a 6th-round knockout, and when he wasn't going, matter of fact, after the first 4 rounds, that's when you start to see Denzel Bentley begin to step it up. That's when you started to see him adjust to that left hand counter from Janibek. He started slipping them and getting up under them and getting out of the way of them, catching them. And that began to fluster Janibek. So it's like, oh shit, he ain't going down with just one shot. I can't even really clip him comfortably with this left hand counter that I was accustomed to in the first 4 rounds. So now I have to find another way to get around this. And as he's adjusting defensively to those left hand counters, those left straights that Janibek is prone to catch, and he's doing his little bit of work. It's not nothing, head snapping or nothing like that, man. But it's just the scoring shots, the pity pat punches, man. He's finding a place for that left hook. He's finding a place for the uppercuts. He's tapping the body. A lot of them were laying, were straying low, but a lot of them was clipping them right on the belt line, right on the gut, right on the, right on the liver and shit like that, right on the rib cage, man. He started doing good work. Man. His defense wasn't nearly as leaky as I'm prone to seeing it, man. And he just, I liked his ability to adjust, man. So I thought this was a learning curve for Janibek. I thought it was, all right, cool, your first 12-round bout, your first title defense. I'm glad he took him into deep water. He had to go into deep water and find a way to persevere, because he's gonna need that as he continues on with his career. And naturally, I think when fights like this happen, you get people who are eager to come out of pocket now and get real, they get real antsy and real talk, real greasy, because they see, oh man, this is food right here. The homie is sweet. We on his ass now. You know what I'm saying? So that was an experience that he needed last night with Denzel Bentley. Shout out to Denzel Bentley, because I just didn't think that he had it in. He never even touched the canvas, man. I had to go to my little Rello's birthday party last night, and as I'm coming home, I'm looking on my phone. I'm just waiting for motherfuckers to say, Janibek, yo, career high, career knockout. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And I get home there in the 10th. I'm like, what the fuck? This nigga's still in the fight? And sure enough, he was in the fight, man. He showed me a lot better defense. He showed me better feet. He showed me, just his guard wasn't getting split as easy as I've normally seen it. He countered good. He committed to the shots better in this fight. I think it was still a lot of slapping punches from him, but he committed to the shots better than I've normally seen him, man. He looked good in there. I gotta admit. Going into the 10th, 11th, the championship rounds, Janibek was able to dig deep. He hurt him bad in the 12th. And, the 10th and 11th could have been swing rounds, but I went with Janibek on those 2 rounds because I just thought he was landing the more significant punches, man. As I've stated before, man, when you become public enemy number 1, all people are going to look, everybody's going to look, at you through a certain lens. Like, they're just waiting on you to get exposed. So they can throw that up in everybody's faces. Y'all was gassing this nigga, and look how he looked. Just the same with what happened with Lomachenko and Jermaine Ortiz a few weeks ago. Everybody thinks Lomachenko's a hype job, so when somebody was able to go in there and give him resistance, they just jump out the window and ran with it. You know what I'm saying? They don't fully unpack the fight. They don't unpack the fight as it's happening. They're looking for your deficiencies and completely disregarding the good work that you do. And that shit is corny to me. That shit is it's like, yo, you niggas is not boxing fans, bro. But it was a lot of swing rounds in there last night, man. It was a lot of give and take. Janibek, there's, I wouldn't even say it's things that he needs to work on, because I think in these type of fights, when you go in there and you're expecting to step on somebody in a timely manner, your mind is, I'm about to knock you the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? So they're not necessarily thinking about making the proper adjustments and all that, because I think it's the moment that's like, oh shit, it's overbearing. Like, this nigga is really not going. And when you think you just that much better than somebody, you can continue to do what you do, because your level of talent is eventually going to permeate to the top, and that's going to be enough to get him up out the paint. So you ain't looking to make adjustments. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking to do that. Look at Canelo. Didn't make no adjustments against Golovkin in his last fight. He didn't make no adjustments. He didn't fight a smart fight at all, actually, in all actuality. He didn't fight a smart fight against Golovkin. He just thought, man, I'm in my prime. I'm better than you. I'm about to knock you the fuck out. He gassed out later on down the stretch, and Golovkin, you start to see him come on and have success later on in the match. That's just, it be like that sometimes. It be like that. It be like that. We did not see Canelo go in there and have fight a smart fight, and because of that, people, oh man, he's showing signs of regression. He ain't the same one. This and that. It's like, the knee jerk reactions is just really ridiculous, man. So it was the same thing with Janibek. Because he's been, putting everybody to sleep. He thought he was going to go in there and just run over this dude, and it didn't happen. He didn't even make him touch the canvas. He hurt him, but he never touched the canvas, man. So I wouldn't say it's shit that he needs to work on. But, I think, he could stand to do more with his jab. Do more with the jab, double up on the jab, feint the jab, throw the right hook over the top and spin out, because his feet are really good. His feet are really good. He has really good foot placement, man. Really good foot placement. I really like the angles that he was cutting, and at times a lot it showed Denzel Bentley being really discouraged by it, because he's not in front of him. He's over here. He's like, where the fuck he go? So there's things he could have stepped to work on, so where when you're presented with a situation like this where you're thinking you're gonna knock somebody out and the knockout doesn't come, you have an alternative route. You have a plan B. You have a contingency plan. This is growing pains. It's growing pains. It's his first title defense. His first fight as a champion. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all. He didn't abandon the body. It wasn't combination punching. The only time you will see a combination punching is when he's throwing the 2 off of the 1, and he's not even, you know how I go. He's just trying to close distance and line you up with, use the jab as a measuring stick as opposed to actually placing it on your face. That's the only time I've seen a combination from him, really, and it was the same punches. It was either the 1-2 up top or the 1-2 to the body. It was never the 3. It was never 1-2-3. It was never 1-2-6. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was never none of that. It was never none of that. But it was enough to get the job done, in my personal opinion, man. I don't see how anybody can score this fight for Bentley. I think it was a competitive fight. But I just think when people, they're looking for a reason to say that he's not who they say he is. They're looking for a reason. They're looking for a reason to say that shit. He the boogeyman. I don't hear no boogeyman to me. Like I said, man, look, I don't. When Jamal Charlo went 12 with Juan Montiel, I didn't necessarily indict Charlo for that, because sometimes you just gonna come across that fight, and even with Montiel getting stopped by Jaime Munguia in a lower division, sometimes a fighter is just not gonna go down. Same with Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios. Nigga, I'm just gonna take this beat down. I'm not about to waver away. You're not about to put me away. Ain't none of that shit. I'm just gonna either the ref is gonna stop me, or I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna risk brain injury, all of that shit, because I'm not going down. You're just gonna have that certain spunk in a fighter who's been down and out before, and they like, nah, I'm here to prove myself. If I can't prove myself from a skill set standpoint, I'm gonna prove myself from, you know, a mental standpoint, a toughness standpoint. Like, I'm not no bitch. I ain't sweet out here. And that's what we got from Denzel Bentley last night, man. So shout out to him. I think this fight could, you know, do him some good. I think it could. I don't think his stock should rise like, oh shit, he went 12 with Janibek. Nah. I think his stock should rise just because he showed that he's a quality middleweight. He showed that he has skills in there and layers to his game. So, and he, like I said, he was able to make the fight competitive in spots, especially in them last rounds, man. With Janibek, he's like, he couldn't find the answer. His brains were still working. How can I knock this nigga out? His brain, you know, his wheels were still spinning. I'm trying to get rid of you. I don't want to go 12. I'm trying to get rid of you. And I think, well, that's one thing Janibek could stand to do. Learn to win rounds. Just learn to win rounds. Learn to score. This dog is bothering me. Fuera. Vamos. I'll be right back. Come on. Yeah, I'm back. But like I was saying, I think it's some, you know, he could learn how to win more, you know, win rounds and not looking to go in there and just get the knockout. And I think fights like this, they're a stumbling block, they're necessity, because we all know as you step up in competition, you ain't gonna be knocking everybody out unless you Arthur or better be. Other than that, when you step up, the competition gets tougher, so you can't go in there expecting a knockout. You can't do that. So you're going to have to learn how to win rounds. You're going to have to learn how to place punches just for scoring, just to score. You're going to have to learn to, you know what I'm saying, break down your opponent to where he unravels. He begins to unravel at the seams, and that opens up an opportunity for a knockout as opposed to you just going in there and imposing your opponent. So this fight was a necessity, man. It was definitely needed before he stepped up and fought somebody else, another champion or whatever. So I like it, man. But one thing that I'm seeing from a lot of people is, in particular, man, I'm watching a Punch Drunk Boxing video right now, and they just couldn't wait for Janibek to have the type of performance that he had, so they can go on with their rhetoric, man. And I don't like how pacifist a lot of these people are being. I watched True School Sports, like a video on him. And he's calling Janibek a hype job. I don't like that term, but he's not. He's still holding Demetrius Andrade accountable for not fighting him. I can dig that. I can definitely dig that. But I'm watching Punch Drunk, and I'm like, bro, you was really just trying to be an apologist for this dude, man. I don't want to hear what Janibek or what Andrade would have did, because he had the opportunity to do it, and the fact that he looked the way that he looked in this fight and you didn't do it, that's more of an indictment on you, because you could have went in there and proved everybody wrong. You could have went in there and shut all the naysayers up. You could have shut Janibek up and had him looking stupid for all of those tweets that he was putting out. Because even now, he was talking about, yo, Denzel Bentley is going. You're going to the hospital after this fight. And now that he didn't, it's like, you know. So you had an opportunity to do that and you didn't do it. And instead of holding him accountable for that, they want to get on here and lambaste Janibek for the performance that he put on, but still praise Demetrius Andrade to try to, like, you know, alleviate the pressure of him not taking the fight and praise him for not taking. Like, he's getting a pat on the back. He's supposed to fight him. You supposed to fight him, man. Yo, he's a bum. He's not a bum. He's not a bum. He went through all the necessary channels to get to where he's at now. When you get to a point where you're a contender, when you're ranked in the division, you're chopping through the competition, let alone a contender. He was a contender. He was a mandatory. That's not hype job. That's not, but you know, that's not congruent with being a hype job. It's not. So I don't like how people are trying to be a pacifist for Demetrius Andrade and they're trying to justify him not fighting him. No. Because he should have took that fight. And based on what we saw from Janibek last night, you would have had to edge Demetrius Andrade in that fight if that was the fight last night. But like I said, you know, you make your adjustments predicated on who it is that you're fighting. And Janibek would, I don't see him going in there looking to knock out the likes of a Demetrius Andrade or even a Jaime Munguia, let alone a Charlo. I don't see them. I don't see that. A lot of people, oh man, Jaime Munguia would have beat him up and he would have did this. Well, why didn't he take the? Why? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't want to hear what somebody woulda did, especially when they had the opportunity to do it. We're not about to sit here and bang on the dude who's doing all the calling out and alleviate the people who were called out but decided to, you know, veer away from the competition. And let's not act like Demetrius Andrade has had the most stellar performances. Denzel Bentley is better than Jason Quigley. I know that much. Denzel Bentley beats Liam Williams. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Anybody saying opposite of that is being dishonest. So I don't want to talk about what he would have did. That shit is whack to me. Andre would have did this and then the third and yada. He should have did it. He should have did it. Because we can say what we want. Janibek would have been the best victory on Demetrius Andrade's resume. That just is what it is. So don't sit here and talk to me about what he would have did based on how Janibek looked in this fight. And like I said, like what I'm trying to say is, well, no, I said it. He's not gonna fight. He wouldn't have fought Andrade. He wouldn't have fought Charlo. He wouldn't have fought Munguia in the same way that he fought Denzel Bentley. Why? Because they're champions. And they're a little bit higher on the food chain than Denzel Bentley. So he's not going to go in there looking to knock them out. That wouldn't have happened. So you can't talk that shit to me, man. He look at how you looked against Denzel Bentley. Denzel Bentley he didn't have the same level of respect for Denzel Bentley that he has Andrade and Jaime Munguia and Charlo. He doesn't. That's why he fought like that. But even with him fighting like that, that's a wrinkle and an attribute added to his favor. Because now you got to know you're going to have to deal with him, you know, after this. Now you're going to have to deal with a smarter fighter, a sharper fighter, a fighter who's looking to, all right, cool, that's what I did wrong. Let me go and iron out that crease in my game. So I'm really not interested in hearing the pacifist for Demetrius Andrade. I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in hearing what Jaime Munguia would have did. Matter of fact, after Jaime Munguia fights in the next couple of weeks, this needs to be a fight that needs to be on it. Yo, give me Janibek. Give me Janibek. You know what I'm saying? The dude he's not being avoided. It's a reason why he's being avoided. He's a threat. And as I've stated, I'm not even saying that Janibek would have beat Andre, but he still, with his style, he definitely could have given him a resistance and possibly beat him. So, that shoulda, coulda, woulda shit is out the window. And it's a lot of people who was really standing on their convictions about it as well. Whether it's on these forums on Facebook or these YouTube, these content creators on YouTube. So don't talk to me about what Andre would have did to Janibek. I'm not interested in that, like, at all. Not interested in it at all, especially when he had 2 times to do it. He had 2 opportunities to do it. He had 2 opportunities to fight this man. He left the division because he didn't want to fight him. Got injured for the Zach Parker fight. Jumped back down, and instead of honoring his mandatory, he tried to line some shit up with Chris Eubank Jr. when Chris Eubank Jr. was already tied up. So don't talk to me about what he would have did. That shit is falling on deaf ears. There's that, nah. I don't want to hear none of that shit, man. Fighting, get active. But shout out to Janibek, man. You need shit like you need fights like this. And it's a shame that motherfuckers didn't take the motherfuckers that he wanted to fight didn't take the fight, because this was the best time to get him. This was the best time to get him. Now that he's in a position where he has, learning experience, man. His first 12-round bout. Oh, okay, bet. This is what it's like to go into deep waters right here. This is what it's like. This is what it's like. Okay, I'm gonna be sharper next time. That's they lost. So I thought Janibek did good last night. I thought he did good. It wasn't his best performance. He didn't look how he looked against Danny Dignam, because Danny Dignam wasn't able to give him the same level of resistance that Denzel Bentley did. Yeah, I think it was more so. Homie brung his mom out. His wife is fine too. Damn, his wife was fine. He brung out his people, his Ghanaian people. And that alone in itself gave him the spunk that he needed to make it to the 12 rounds and not even touch the canvas. That was all the motivation that he needed, not to get knocked out in front of his mama, not to get knocked out in front of his lady. And not just not get knocked out, but give resistance. Begin to counter, begin to place the proper punches where they need to go. Finding a target, finding the mark, not abandoning the body. He looked good in there last night. So I don't think, I still don't think he won the fight, but he had the combination of skill and motivation. The combination of skill and motivation to where Janibek had to, I'm about to survive this fight. And he survived that fight, and it was a necessity that he needed to face off with somebody like that. And now we've grown from it, so where do we go next? So the next fight is Jaime Munguia. I don't want to hear shit out. I don't want to hear nothing besides give me Janibek next. Give me that next. I ain't seen no tweet or nothing from Oscar De La Hoya, but I don't think Oscar De La Hoya will be opposed to making that fight. Now I think Oscar De La Hoya, oh yeah, we can do that. We can make that happen. We can make that happen. So they need to make that happen immediately. And let's see what the fuck go. Let's see where we go from here, man. So shout out to Janibek, shout out to Denzel Bentley. I'm ready to see what happens next, and I'm hoping it's someone like a Jaime Munguia that gets Janibek next, or Charlo. I'll even settle for Carlos Adames, man. So that's all I gotta say about it, man. I'm out here. I'm about to go do this homework. Deuces.